I went outside, and again, I felt the world just looked different. The world just started to light up for me. Like everything just came alive. I said to God, I never want to go back. Never want to go back into that life. It's this 3 years, this last Christmas that I have been. I never looked back at the Xanax again. He took the anxiety away. He took the depression away.
Wow.
He took the insecurities away. Like, I love him so much for what he's done for me.
Hey everybody, it's me, Julianne Hartman with The Journey, and this is Tia Combs. I am here in Florida. I met this beautiful lady at a restaurant. She was working at the restaurant, and I don't even know if maybe I said, I don't know, have a good day or something. And you said because of Jesus, I will have a good day. Something like that.
About right.
Yeah. And so we're like, whoa, wait a minute. Who are you? And what is your story? And she told us a little bit about her story, but it's gone on. You got to go back and watch both episodes before this because it is way more than what I even heard at the restaurant. So you need to hear this because it's life-giving, and it's something that people need to hear, because when you're in these situations, when you're in addiction, you're not thinking about anything but except supplying the anesthesia for yourself, so you don't have to deal with everyday life. So this is really important. So thank you so much, Tia, for coming on a third time. And so now you have a son, right? You have a daughter, but you have a son right now. The son, you said, saved your life because you had to be responsible for him. And so you raised him on your own, and you were in a relationship with someone you also said was an alcoholic. So how was that relationship?
To who? To the
ex? Yeah, the ex.
Oh, I don't speak to him. Okay. I don't see him. I did see him a couple weeks ago. I went into Publix, and there he was. But,
Was that weird?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I pray for him, and I would love to see him get saved, and I want the best for him. But being that the Lord transformed my life so much, I can't go back to. That's a dangerous. Like, I know I would never be with him, but still, you don't kind of like tread those kind of waters. You kind of like,
Nope.
and I would have to completely pray about that before I would ever even.
You are a new creature in Christ.
Yes.
Those old things have passed away. All things are new, and you are a new creation in Christ Jesus. So you don't have to go back.
Nope.
No, because God's got so many things
There's
in
nothing
front.
there for me.
You don't need to go back. There's so many amazing things that are happening in front of you.
Yep.
Okay, so now you're with this guy for, you said, 7 years?
Yes.
And then what happened after that?
After we split up.
Yeah.
So constant drug use.
Okay.
Same spiral, same thing going on and on and on.
Were you tired of this?
Yes.
Of the spiral?
I was tired. I would make every attempt to get off, wean myself down. I would feel terrible. The withdrawals were bad. I mean, they're deadly. You're kicking Xanax and then alcohol at the same time.
Yeah.
It's next to impossible.
Wow.
Time after time after time. So, I by this time I had an eviction over my head. So I found another place to live, and I got really sick in there. There was mold in the carpets.
Wow.
And I got really ill. I was covered in a rash, and I tried to fight the landlord, and it's just the whole thing. And he ended up selling it, and they evicted me too.
Mm.
So I found myself. I had met a lady online. I had found her Chihuahua, and she had a couple acres out in West Cocoa. And I asked her, "Hey, can you help me out? We have nowhere to go."
You and your son.
Yes, I have 2 dogs. So her husband fixed up an old trailer, fixed it up, put AC, fixed it up for us to live in. And that's where we went. Yep. So I was working at 7-Eleven, and I ended up getting COVID. So
Oh my gosh. So
I
now what year are we up to now?
we're in
Obviously, you're 20.
2021, December of
Okay.
2021. So I'm out on this property. It's 3 acres. It's down a long dirt road. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. So, isolated.
And your son is there
He's there
with
me.
you in the trailer.
Yes, they fixed his own little separate trailer up.
Oh,
So but he was like just a stone's throw away.
how old is your son?
He's 25 now.
Right now he's
He
25.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was 21.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm out there and I go to work and I end up catching COVID at work. It's because I'm working night shift at a 7-Eleven, and I came back to the trailer, I came back to the property, and I was super sick and starting to get dope sick and alcohol withdrawal. So I went.
Because you weren't doing it?
Well, I was starting not to. So I went and I got some pills, I got some alcohol, and I'm drinking and doing drugs with COVID. That's what this was. So I went outside and I couldn't really make it to the restroom. So I ran out the door, and I remember I was standing on the porch and I got scared. Tired, scared, over it, really scared. And I said, God help me. This is when, from my heart, I said, Lord, I know I've been betrayed. So I go back in my room and I lay down, and I cannot tell you what happened. It was 3 days I laid there, and I kept feeling like there was a presence there with me, and it had to be Jesus. He was very quiet, the presence, very humble, very like, didn't say much, but I could feel that somebody was there with me. And I kept leaving, like I felt like I was leaving my body, and I was sick. I was sick from COVID, and that was it. I had some, but even that wasn't too bad. Like I don't know, it was almost like an out of body experience, really, for 3 days. And on the third day, I got up, and I was kind of like discombobulated, and I didn't know what to make of anything. I was foggy headed. I was just, it was crazy. So then I sat there for a minute and I realized, wait a minute, I haven't done drugs or drank in 3 days with not one withdrawal. I did not have any withdrawals.
Wow.
Nothing. And I said, Lord, I went outside, and again, I felt the world just looked different. The world just started to light up for me. Like everything just came off. I said to God, I never want to go back. Never want to go back into that life. This 3 years, this last Christmas that I have been. I never looked back at the Xanax again. He took the anxiety away. He took the depression away.
Wow.
He took the insecurities away. Like, I love him so much for what he's done for me and who he is. And, I had my struggles with alcohol afterwards. Like, I thought, well, I could still have a couple of drinks. No, I hated the way I felt. I didn't like it. I hated the way I felt disconnected from the Lord. And just each day that goes by, I just feel stronger and steadier. And it reminds me of Psalm 41 and 2. I cried out to the Lord, and he heard me, and he lifted me out of a slimy pit, out of the mud and mire, and he set my feet on a solid rock, gave me a firm place to stand. And that rock is Jesus. So here I am today. Like, what he's done for me is like, I don't really have words.
Yeah.
I'm somebody else.
That's who you really, the one we see now is who you really were.
He came in and filled that void for me.
Wow.
And I can never go back to any of that, because I spun my wheels out over and over, and it's just, there's nothing there for me. Not one thing, not a relationship, not a drug, Nothing. There's nothing back there for me. So every day I move forward with Jesus, and I'm not saying it's easy. It's not been, easy. I do get attacked, but he's always there. He's always there to hold me, lift me up, and just transform me every single day. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Wow.
Yep.
And so, what do you suppose why that time it worked?
Well, he had actually set me free from drugs before that one time. So I knew he could do it again.
Right.
So I had that faith. When I said on that porch, God help me, I said, I know you did it one time for me before. You lifted him off. I never had a withdrawal. I know you can do it again. So it just was so old and I was so tired. And honestly, in the end, the drugs I was buying on the street, the Xanax, were probably pressed with fentanyl. And I didn't know it at the time. And if I would have kept going, I probably wouldn't be here today.
Oh my gosh. No, you're right.
Yeah, I would probably, God has revealed to me, he would have just kept going. He wouldn't have made it and just like he literally saved my life.
You have a purpose.
Yes.
You always did have a purpose, but now you're just fulfilling it.
Right.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
This story is about so many things, but
yeah, it's a lot.
man, but mainly is that God is faithful. He didn't say, hey, Tia, you already asked me that once, I'm not going to do it again. Learn from your mistake, and come see me later. That's where I think people use the excuse at times, like, well, I thought God was mad at me. You could have said that many times. Well, I thought God was mad with me because, I didn't keep up
I did a lot of, there was a lot of witchcraft. I did a lot of bad stuff, but he said, come on home, come on back to me. And a man was in my life. I cannot tell you the joy. I can't tell you how great it is. There's no words.
Yeah.
I don't have the words. I'm just telling you that you're missing out. If you stay there and you don't go back, like,
what is it? Let me ask you, what is it about that lifestyle that you preferred? Was it just because it was convenient? It's what you knew?
Well, I was diagnosed with OCD, and I do still have touches of that where give me it now. I want it now. I had that type of personality. I need to feel better now. Everything was down. Not only that, but I was a spoiled child. I was raised spoiled. Everything you just on a platter. Give it to me now. So I did have that personality, but let me tell you, God has even changed that. Everything I've asked for help for, everything that I need, he supplies it. And I still need things, but I know where my help comes from. It'll never come from a person. It'll never come from a drug. It's him. Everything is in him. It's perfect. It's so perfect.
And then so you have no family left. So
no, I have a brother.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a brother. I have two brothers. One, I don't really speak to him, but I do have another brother, and he is full-blown Christian. He lives in Georgia, and we do have a good relationship.
That's great.
Yeah.
But then you also now have a whole family in the body of Christ that you didn't realize that you had before. When Jesus said, like, who are my brothers and my sisters? It's the ones that are my mothers and my brothers.
Yeah.
It's the ones that do the will of the Lord. And so I'm your sister.
Yes, you are.
So now so you work at this restaurant that I met you at.
Yes.
And what are your plans? Do you know yet, or are you just letting God show you it as it comes?
Yeah, I kind of do let God just guide me. And actually, the owner of this restaurant, she is my mom replacement, and she has really kept me solid with Jesus. Like she is a great spiritual mom, and just to think I get to work somewhere underneath her. I mean, I couldn't have asked for it. I actually worked there from 2009 to 2014 as a full-blown drug addict. So,
and did she know?
She knew. So I ended up leaving there, and I came back to her. So in 2022 May, so it's almost been 3 years. I came back to work for her, and it's just been great with her. Great.
How did she like tell you, like, hey, I knew you were involved in all that back then, but I loved you anyway, or whatever she said?
That's who she is.
Did
who
she
she
tell you that
is.
she knew all of that?
Oh yeah, you can't. I couldn't hide it from her. She
Yeah.
sees right through it. She knew.
See, that's why we don't want to ever give up on people. And I know sometimes it's, if you've got small children and you're with someone that has this, these addictions and stuff, it's dangerous for your kids. But if you can help walk somebody through, we just do it. We do it unto the Lord.
Yes.
We don't do it unto ourselves because we're going to look for something to get out of it. But God's like, no, do it for me. And you get kingdom points for that.
So one of my favorite stories in the Bible, and I'm just gonna tell you this. I love this story. I love to tell people this story when people say, "Oh, they'll never change. Oh, there's no hope for them." Saul on the road to Damascus. He wasn't asking for help. He was riding off to, kill Christians. And he got knocked off his horse and blinded. So, I mean, and changed him forever.
It did.
He ended up writing most of the Bible.
Yeah.
It's such a great story because God can change anybody. Anybody. Don't ever lose hope and people get clean or I am what's the word? I am
An example?
yes,
Yes.
I'm a prime example of a major, like a miracle, a change, and what he can do. Like, don't ever give up on people.
Yeah, trust me, I know a lot of people who has family members that are addicts and they're like, we've tried everything. And it's like, well, sometimes that's the best place to be in is that you have tried everything.
Letting go.
Letting go.
You gotta let go. Like,
what would you say to somebody that was trying to help somebody that's in the situation that you were in all those years?
well, unfortunately, I am in this situation because my daughter is a full blown addict now. So I am there and I have really let go and given her to God. And she went from not wanting to hear anything about the Lord to, listening. But, now the enemy's coming throwing another wrench in that. So what would I say to somebody? Repeat the question.
Well, what would you say to someone that is trying to help somebody, but they just keep relapsing, going back to the drugs?
Number one, don't enable them. Because I had some enablers. And
that would help you like financially?
Oh yeah. They just made me worse. Like, they fuel the fire. Don't enable people. You can love them and not enable them. You can love them and ask God, where should I draw the line? How should I help? Basically you got to take everything to God in prayer. Like I even take where I'm going to eat at a restaurant to God in prayer. Where should I go, God?
Amen.
Everything. Like every breath you take.
Yeah.
How should I do it, God? So
now your daughter was raised with your mom.
She was with my mother. My daughter was 9 when my mother passed away in front of her.
Okay, so where'd your daughter go after that?
She hopped around. So now she went to go live with her grandfather in Jacksonville. That didn't work out. She got in a lot of trouble there. So she came back to me for a minute, and then she just packed up her stuff one day and she started jumping trains, and she went to San Francisco, and that's where she is now.
Okay, so
she's fighting an addiction.
Yeah, kind of like what you went through.
Yep.
Yeah, but you know what though? You are a mother that has been through it and knows how to talk to her daughter.
That's right.
Unlike your mom wasn't able to really help you in that. So you've got such an incredible opportunity.
Yes, I just love her.
Yep.
I talk to her. I don't judge her.
Yep.
Because we're not warring against flesh and blood.
That's right.
Spirits and principalities. So we have to keep that in mind when we're trying to war against a person on drugs.
It's like, no, you don't go there with it because you'll be frustrated.
You don't fight fire with fire. You fight with love. You love them, and you speak to them as if you would want to be spoke to as a full blown addict.
Yeah.
What
would have been the best thing that someone could have said to you? Except for the one thing your friend did say, where's Jesus and all that. Well, what else would
she said? What happened to you and Jesus?
Yeah. What was something that you might have thought, well, you know what? If someone would have said this to me, or at least, I don't know, invited me to church or put a Bible in my hand.
I would really like to hear someone say to me, hey, do you remember when you first came to encounter Jesus and how you felt at that time and his power and his love and his strength? Don't you want that back? Don't you want to go back? Don't ever forget that he's still there. He's waiting. I wish somebody would have said that to me. Definitely.
Well, the good news is that that's something that you can pass on to somebody else.
Yes.
Wow. All right. So your life is, how old is your daughter now?
She's 34.
Okay. Now, does she see her brother?
No, she's been in San Francisco for about 9 years
Mhm.
now.
Okay. Well, the good thing is that you can talk to her
Yep.
on the phone and, and FaceTime or whatever.
When
Just
she answers,
when
when
she
she
answers.
responds, she's abandoned. She feels abandoned. And we know the only one that could fix her and that situation is Jesus. So I put it in his hands. And
Yep. And we just thank the Lord because there'll be somebody in San Francisco
that's right.
that will speak to her.
There already has been.
Yeah. Okay. And then there's going to be more of them. And one
That's
of these
right.
days, someone's going to say something. It's just going to click. And
Yep.
you're going to have your family, your restoration back, which is from your daughter.
Yes.
And be able to have a family. So, well, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Tia, that you shared your whole story with us.
Thank you for letting me share that
Yeah.
because I feel like a real, almost something just lived. I haven't talked about a lot of that stuff in a long time. So thank
Mhm.
you. Thank
Well,
you for
that
having
is,
me.
you know what? That is somebody, there was a movie I once saw called Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. And
Yeah.
and really, it's like, that girl doesn't live there anymore. That girl died.
Totally done.
That girl died. She is dead. And she's never, ever will be resurrected because there's no life in her.
Nope.
And no chance for resurrection. So I'm just excited I got to meet you. And I do believe that things are going to open up for you in ways that you can tell people your story. You've got an incredible story in this town here on Cocoa Beach. It's like you have a lot to share here. You can help so many people. I see a lot of people on the street, that they're doing drugs and stuff. And it's like, man, you can talk to them. You've been there. You've done it. You've got the words to say. You've got the experience. You've got the anointing from the Holy Spirit to really help somebody.
So something I recently learned, which has really worked great for me, is I never really thought of it before. God just showed me one day when you're talking to someone, just feel that love in your heart. Just it's like feel the love that the Lord has for them, and also the compassion. Like you got to get that there. I feel like those prayers work.
Yeah.
When you pray with love. Because I was pretty judgmental and harsh there for a while. When I first came back to the Lord, I had to set me free from that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Well, and sometimes that happens because you're like, well, I figured it out.
But I didn't really figure it out.
Right.
So it was.
But I love because Paul says, if I don't have love, I am nothing. I am nothing without love. Nothing. And that's where we need to start our days off every day going, I don't care what I encounter, who I encounter, but I am nothing if I don't have love. I'm just this, clanging brass, like nothing.
Worthless.
Absolutely worth. There's nothing worth anything
Nope.
with anything but love. And so we have to really remind ourselves because we, and also too, when the Bible tells us to love our enemies, you're like, I can love you because you're so sweet, but my enemy?
That's a big one.
Oh yeah, no. How am I can't even look at them with eyes of love. But God's like, no, I know. So look at them through my eyes.
The more enemies you encounter and the more times you forgive, it gets a lot easier. Because then you realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm not doing this. I did this last time. It didn't work.
And it's not worth it. It's like, do you want to take up space in your heart for hatred towards somebody?
No.
There's just not enough days in the year, right, to just be focused on something like that. So it literally will keep you from doing other things in your life, which is great, amazing things that God's called you to do.
Yep.
We just fill our hearts full of so much nonsense. And you're like, you wake up one day and you're like, well, that was a waste of 5 years.
Seriously. Something I love telling myself is this is all meaningless. This isn't our final destination. We got to think about heaven and how some things here, these little things, they don't matter. Somebody cut me off on the street or this person talked to me crazy in public. It's get over it.
Yeah.
It's so meaningless. I used to get all riled up. It's just I don't have time for it anymore.
But you know what, though? I think because the Lord has settled your heart so much that you don't have that edge thing, where maybe the drugs might have been, a big influence when it came to that. But this is the real Tia, which is awesome. And so I believe your daughter and your relationship will be restored and she will be sitting in a place just like this, giving her testimony. That's how good he is.
That's how good he is.
He really is. So thank you all for watching. again, please share these videos because it's really important that that we get these stories out just to help people. That's the whole point behind this. I know when I was sick, that's all I did was watch testimonies because I had to see what other people like. Did you go through what I did? Did you have those symptoms? And how did you get healed? And what did you do? And that's why my questions, I always try to get questions for something that I would have asked when I was in a really bad way. That's that's why you need to share them because there's someone else that is dealing with this in the world that we live in today. Come on, there's a lot of addiction going on, and
Yeah.
so we need you to share the videos and to just be able to share what she says. Sometimes people say like, I saw this testimony. It may not even sharing the video, but I shared the story of somebody.
Right.
And that's even more important too, when you're on one-on-one with someone and you can share a story. So I'm just all about that. And I'm really excited that I got to meet you. And this is just the beginning of a relationship,
you
which
so
is
much
really
for
exciting now that I'm coming to see my granddaughter more often
Yes.
in Cocoa Beach. So we love you all. Thank you so much for watching.